All right, let's jump right in. We're talking about two of the biggest names in human history, Buddha and Jesus. Now, these two lived centuries apart, but they both tried to answer life's biggest questions. What's so interesting is that while they both wanted to solve the human predicament, they started from completely different places and, no surprise, ended up with profoundly different solutions. So let's explore how these two giants of thought saw the human condition and what they thought we should do about it.
Both Buddhism and Christianity really start right here with this one question. It makes sense, right? Before you can offer a cure, you have to figure out what the disease is. So, what did each of them see as the core problem? The one thing that gets to every single one of us?
And that leads us right into the first part of our breakdown, the diagnosis. We're going to look at how each of these traditions defines the fundamental problem with being human. And here it is, the whole contrast in a nutshell. For Buddhism, the problem is suffering, or ku. For Christianity, the problem is sin, or tsumi. And these two words, they represent two totally different ways of looking at the world and our place in it. One view says our daily frustrations are just a natural part of life that we need to understand and get past. The other says those frustrations are actually symptoms of a much, much deeper spiritual problem.
So, what exactly is this Buddhist idea of suffering? Well, it's described perfectly as simply things not going as you wish. That's it. It's that friction we all feel between what we want and the reality of a world that's always changing. Buddha had this huge realization when he finally left his palace and saw, for the first time, an old man, a sick person, and a dead body. He saw that everything we try to hold on to, our youth, our health, even life itself, is temporary, and our attachment to those temporary things, well, that's the real root of our suffering.
Now, Christianity's diagnosis? It couldn't be more different. See, sin isn't just about the bad things you do, like lying or stealing. It's a fundamental state of being. It's about being separated from a perfect whole God. Imagine a giant canyon. We're on one side, God's on the other, and there is absolutely no way we can build a bridge to get across on our own. It's a condition we're all just born into.
Okay, so if the problem is suffering that comes from inside our own minds, how do we fix it? Well, that brings us to Buddha's prescription, which is all about what's called jiriki, or self-power.
And this is absolutely the key. Siddhartha Gautama, the guy who became the Buddha, he wasn't a god. He was a person, just like you and me. He didn't have any divine powers. He just found a path to enlightenment through his own grit, his own effort, his own insight.
I mean, this quote, which is said to be his very last teaching, it says it all, doesn't it? The solution, the safety, the power to save yourself, it lies within you and only you. In the massive ocean of suffering, you have to become your own island. The path he laid out is also super logical. First, you have to look at reality straight on. Then you figure out the cause, which is inside your own mind. It's all your craving and clinging. So, what's the solution? Let go of all that. And finally, you follow this rigorous path of mental and ethical discipline to actually make it happen. It's a journey of liberating yourself.
This just sums it up perfectly. A Buddha isn't a savior who's going to carry you across the finish line. Nope. They're more like a guide who's walked the path before and can show you the map. But the actual walking, yeah, that's all on you. You have to make the effort.
Okay, so now let's flip over to Jesus's prescription, which offers a completely different solution. If the problem is a gap between us and God that we can't cross, then the solution can't come from us, right? It has to come from the other side. And this is the whole idea of Tariki, or other power.
And this is where the nature of Jesus becomes everything. Unlike Buddha, who was 100% human, Christian belief is that Jesus was, at the same time, 100% human and 100% God. It's this dual nature that lets him be the bridge across that huge canyon of sin.
So check out this complete reversal of roles. On the Buddhist path, you are the main character. You're the one doing the work of your own liberation. But on the Christian path, God is the main character, the savior. Humanity, we're the recipients, the ones being saved. The power, the action, the whole initiative, it all comes from God.
And that divine act is what's called salvation. From a Christian point of view, Jesus' death wasn't some horrible tragedy. It was a sacrifice with a purpose. It was God's way of paying the price for human sin and closing that gap for good. So salvation isn't something you achieve with discipline. It's a gift you receive through faith.
So we've seen two totally different diagnoses of the human condition and two radically different prescriptions for what to do about it.
Let's try to put it all together now. Okay, let's just lay it all out side by side. On one side, you've got Buddhism. It diagnoses the core problem as suffering, a problem that comes from within. It offers a path of self-power where a human guide shows you how to actively achieve your own liberation. Then, on the other side, you have Christianity. It diagnoses the core problem as sen, a separation from something outside of us. It offers a path of other power where a divine savior acts so that you can passively receive salvation. When you really boil it all down, this is the one question that separates these two massive worldviews. Is the answer to our deepest problems something we have to find and build up inside ourselves? Or is it something that has to be given to us from a source that's completely beyond us? And so that's what we leave you with. Two paths, born from two totally different ideas about what it even means to be human. And each one presents us with a fundamental choice. Which one makes more sense to you really just depends on where you believe the power for real transformation actually comes from. Thanks for joining us.